Hi. I am still getting a read on this answer to my lawsuit from Monahan and Leary, the firm that the county hired to defend themselves against my lawsuit. And this is their answer to my lawsuit, and I just got it the other day, and I still, well, something is pretty apparent after a day or so of going over it, and that thing is kind of funny, I think. And it is this. They spend, it's 11 pages long, basically. I mean, there's exhibits and some other stuff, but the meat of their motion to dismiss, because that's what they're asking for, is 11 pages long. And they spend the first 7 pages saying, basically, that it was already dismissed with prejudice, or arguing that it was, basically, even though the judge didn't recommend that it be dismissed with prejudice, it wasn't dismissed with prejudice, it was just dismissed. And that's different from being dismissed with prejudice. If it's just dismissed, it might be for technical reasons or whatever, and you can refile it, or if it's a criminal case, it can be brought against you again or against whoever again. If it's dismissed with prejudice, that means you can't refile it, or it can't be brought again as a criminal case. And my case was dismissed, but not with prejudice, so I refiled it. But they claim, they spend the first 7 pages claiming that, well, yeah, technically it wasn't dismissed with prejudice, but basically it really was. That's what the judge meant, And that's the first 7 pages. And then they have about 4 pages of stuff that is about the actual claims, one of which may have merit, unfortunately, but that's going to require some study, those 4 pages there. And then the last page says, their conclusion. For the reasons set forth in this motion and supporting memorandum, the defendants respectfully request that the court issue an order dismissing all claims against them with prejudice. So, in other words, they spend 7 pages saying, look, this has already been dismissed with prejudice. And then 4 pages, well, plus there's this and this and this, one of which may have some merit. And then, so 7 pages of, can you please this has already been dismissed with prejudice. And then the conclusion is, can you please dismiss this with prejudice? And so it's like, almost like a gotcha, Oh, really? It's already been dismissed with prejudice. You spend 7 pages saying, and then then why are you asking? I don't know. I just thought that was funny. So I don't think those first 7 pages. I mean, there's a lot in there, and I have to double check, and I have to write some kind of response to it. But I don't think it has merit. So I got 4 pages of stuff that of actual meat I got to deal with. So I don't know. I'm getting less and less worried about this, and more hopeful that I can get it to the point where it's going to proceed before a jury. At which point they will settle, because they're not going to want to defend this in court. I'm quite sure. Yeah, I mean, most of the actual claims in the refiling, they don't address. Most of them, they don't try to even counter. So yeah. Thank you. Keep fighting. I would highly recommend suing. It's work, and but it's if you get, if you have the right attitude, I guess. Especially if you're poor, it's completely free, or almost completely free. You got to pay for copies and mail stuff. Anyway, thank you for listening. Keep fighting, regardless of how you do it. Peace. And be careful out there.
That's going to be dismissed.